If there's one thing that people find it very difficult to wrap their minds around, it is the following: that a man called William used to frequent a place in Nairobi called Jobless Corner around 1991. Yeah, very hungry. Normally, usually he's not had lunch, okay, and trying to figure out where the next coin is going to come from. Indeed, trying to figure out where his next meal is going to come from. 1991. Indeed, I have friends who remember him. Yeah, and they say that frequently William would say he has no fare to get home, no bus fare, no matatu fare. Yeah. Shockingly, barely slightly over 10 years later, this William was Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Indeed, co-president of the Republic of Kenya. What? How do you do that? 10 years is a very short period of time. And there are some other Kenyans who are even more baffled than we may be on this channel. Yeah, people like Cyrus Njirongo. Cyrus Njirongo, in fact, said in a public meeting not too long ago that in fact Ruto alikuwa mtu wake wa mkono. Yeah, loosely translated, Ruto was Njirongo's messenger. In 1992, Njirongo was still teaching Ruto the ropes. Yeah, he would explain to him, you go to this ministry and this is what you get. And at that time, of course, Njirongo was already a billionaire, and no doubt Ruto admired him greatly. Okay, and therefore he had no qualms about taking instructions from billionaire Njirongo as he learned the ropes. Therefore, Njirongo sending him here and there was not an issue. To Ruto then, it was an honor rubbing shoulders with billionaire. Now, life is just interesting. Yeah, and as the Luya say, when do we change anger? Because today, as I make this recording, Bwana Njirongo is struggling. Yeah, he has no cash. He's bila cash. His properties have been attached, and the long and short of it is that his huge empire is cash strapped. Meanwhile, the guy who was mtu mkono for him, yeah, mtu wake wa mkono, is a multi-billionaire. He doesn't have any cash problems. Yeah, indeed, the only problems he has are political, not financial. What? How did Ruto do it? Well, to start with, you have to give credit where it's due. And I'll tell you an interesting story. I personally knew a man, in fact a journalist, yeah, is now deceased, yeah, who was part and parcel of Youth for KANU 92. At the same time as Njirongo and DP Ruto were, running the organization. And the main aim of this organization was to distribute cash to ensure the re-election of Daniel Toroitich arap Moi in the very first multi-party elections in Kenya. Moi, of course, was hugely unpopular, yeah, and one of the few ways of turning people was to use cash, which worked like magic in such a cash-strapped country where there are so many poverty-stricken people as Kenya is. Now, the scenes at Anniversary Towers, where the offices for this youth YK92 were, are just mind-boggling even today. The money was being distributed in 500 bob denominations, okay? And what had happened is that somebody had gone and printed money, literally, printed money in carton loads. Now, if you've been into any office at Anniversary Towers, you'll know that the roofs are fairly high, okay? So what used to happen is that the office was stacked with these cartons full of cash from the floor to the roof. I kid you not. And so the procedure which Ruto and Njirongo were in charge of was that they would give instructions. They would say, patia fulani carton mbili, patia huyo carton moja. Money was being distributed in carton loads. Now, within a very short period of time, this friend of mine bought a few very flashy cars, yeah, and he was raining money all over town. Yeah, I think that's the only English word I can use. Yeah, alikuwa ananyesha pesa. You would see him with a group of the most gorgeous ladies, Nairobi ladies, at any time of the day or night in Nairobi. Now, at the time this friend of mine was passing on, he couldn't even afford a pair of shoes. Yeah, and of course he was very sick at that time. Yeah, rumor has it that he had the big one. Yeah, HIV/AIDS. And of course at that time there were no ARVs. Okay. Now my whole point here is that there are a lot of people involved with the Youth for Kano 92 organization, yeah, who came into a lot of cash very quickly, yeah, who today have nothing to show for it. Many of whom today are no longer in the world of the living. Now everybody knows that if you're not used to handling certain sums of money, yeah, chances are that if you get that money, you'll just blow it away. Even if you don't spend it on women and alcohol, what will happen is that you'll lose the money. Yeah, because in order to maintain, your huge deposit, you'll need to earn income at a very fast rate. And you take this situation where you've just gotten the money very suddenly. You've not gotten it through any hard work or earning from anything. Yeah, chances are that you'll lose it. Yeah, somebody will, of course, when you have money, you get all kinds of advisors who want to part you with your money. Yeah, invest in this, invest in that, and within no time it's gone. But William Ruto was different. Yeah, he was very careful with his money. Yeah, despite the fact that he had never seen this kind of money before, he used Youth for Kano 92 as a springboard, yeah, for him to spring to greater heights, yeah, and indeed heights higher than those who were teaching him the ropes in 1992, yeah, people like Cyrus Njirongo. And so it cannot be denied, Ruto is smart. He's a sharp guy, yeah, very disciplined man, to have been able to succeed where very many others have failed. So you have to give credit where it's due. Now we'll go on a short commercial break. Yeah, when we come back, we'll dig deeper into the strategy of Ruto and how he may be failing now. Yeah, don't miss it. See you in a bit. Welcome back. Yeah, DP William Ruto has come a long way. There's no doubt about that. Now, in another recording on this channel, have detailed how Ruto actually built up his fortune. Okay, so I'll not waste time by going to that here. Yeah, I want us now to dive in actually, yeah, deep into the politics. And indeed the current politics. Because even the politics of how Ruto became deputy president, I've covered before on this channel. Now, the very fascinating thing about what's going on right now is that it would seem, for the first time in his political career, DP William Ruto is making some very basic mistakes. Now, between 2013 and 2016, Ruto succeeded in doing his things chini ya maji, yeah, behind the scenes, He was building up his following countrywide. He was getting appointments right across the country, getting people in his corner right across the country. Yeah, and he was doing this very effectively. He even used his influence as literally a co-president with President Uhuru Kenyatta, yeah, to build up this influence. And the truth is, this influence would be very difficult just to destroy on a whim. Yeah, this influence cannot just be whitewashed or brought down just like that. Now let me illustrate this further. In 1983, Moi had a problem. Yeah, another man called Charles Mugane Njonjo had done the same thing, and he had built influence right across the political spectrum in the country called Kenya. His intention, of course, was to ascend to the presidency. Yeah. Now, when things came to a head for Njonjo, and Moi realized what was happening and needed to dismantle the big Njonjo organization, if you can call it that, all Moi did was to call for a snap general election. Yeah, in those days under the Constitution, the president would call for elections at any time. So in 1983, we had some general elections. And then all Moi did was to make sure that none of the Njonjo people were elected back into parliament. Yeah, it was simple as that. And pop, influence of Njonjo gone. Now in 2017, it would be impossible to dismantle the large organization, yeah, the large support base, very influential support base that William Ruto has built. Yeah, because nobody has power to call for elections at any time, for starters. And even if they did, we now have something called devolution. Yeah, let me just give you one example. The current Kajiado governor, yeah, people used to call him Olendengu, yeah, you know, his previous CS internal, yeah. But now Olendengu is a very close associate of DP William Ruto, and is governor of Kajiado. Now, no matter what you do, you cannot make Olelenku go away. You can't. Yeah. Now multiply that several times right across the country, and you'll get my drift. The influence of one DP Ruto is firmly in place, and you cannot just dismantle it. It's impossible. Anyway, back to my point. Now, of course, William Ruto played his cards very well up to 2016. But now, after the elections of 2017, yeah, the elections which we have just come out of, he seems to be making blunder after blunder. Blunder number one, and this is the basics of politics, yeah, you don't show your hand too early, yeah. I mean, elections are as far away as 2022, okay. Now, if you show your hand, or you're drawn out, like has happened in the case of Ruto, because actually the truth is he was drawn out. What do I mean by drawn out? MPs from Central Province came out with a statement and said that William Ruto should stop trying to influence Central Kenya MPs in his bid for the presidency in 2022. Yeah, but still, what Ruto should have done is just to ignore what people are saying. But instead, what he has done is that his troops have come out, both barrels of the gun firing, and their mantra is beginning to get very monotonous, yeah, and very annoying indeed. Yeah, because every time they open up their mouth, they say 2022, forget it. The president is Ruto. 2022, forget it. The president is Ruto. Now, to make matters worse, the country is passing through a very difficult time politically. Yeah, the political future of Kenya, 2-3 months down the road, is uncertain, let alone 2022. But you have a situation whereby DP Ruto troops are just firing from both barrels. Yeah, this is the only man for 2022. Forget it, 2022, if you have ambitions for the presidency. Ruto is president. Ruto is the only one who can be president. Now, one of the things that this kind of tactics have had is that, in my opinion, they have forced the hand of some very powerful Mount Kenya politicians, yeah, and very powerful people within the Mount Kenya political class. These gentlemen have hit back by making every effort to undermine and rubbish those statements about Ruto receiving Central Kenya votes in his 2022 bid for the presidency. The long and short of what I'm saying is that even if Ruto would still have ended up in problems with Central Kenya MPs, yeah, Central Kenya powerful politicians, yeah, it would have still been a much better strategy to lie low. And I hope DP Ruto's camp is not fooling themselves that when people like Duale speak, or people like Olelenko speak, or his other appointment across the country speak, people cannot make the connection to DP William Ruto. He must be, they must be out of their minds if that's what they think. This is not the 1980s. Kenyans are very, very politically smart these days. Yeah, they've grown in leaps and bounds in terms of reading the politics. Now things have come to a head because it's becoming increasingly apparent that the handshake between Uhuru and Raila, put the last nail on the DP Ruto campaign coffin for 2022. It seems that a very, very important major part of that handshake was the Uhuru Kenyatta succession plan. And this succession plan does not involve DP Ruto. What that means is that these calls by Duale and the rest, forget the presidency, 2022 it's only Ruto, will become more and more hollow as we go into the next few weeks and months. And very soon they'll just sound downright ridiculous. And again I repeat, this would not have happened if the Ruto troops played their cards very close to their chest and they did not expose their hand, did not expose themselves. And now Ruto has to face the biggest political crisis of his life. How to handle his ambitions for 2022 and how to take his agenda forward even as he works deep inside a government that has completely changed course and taken a road very far from where he's going. A government that has clearly, completely abandoned its plans for 2022. And any support you'd have expected from it for 2022. So, what does Ruto do? What would you do if you are Ruto? The truth is, the options are very, very limited. And none of those options would be attractive to Ruto. They are all very crazy options. Now, before I tell you what those options are, let us not forget that one of the strongest points of DP William Ruto is his ability to strategize. No wonder his middle name is Samoei. Samoei, of course, is a very famous Nandi leader, in fact the greatest Nandi warrior leader in the history of the community. Koitalel Arap Samoei. This is the man who kept the Brits at bay, fought against them very effectively, with massive casualties on the British side, for 11 long years. Because when the railway line arrived in the Rift Valley, in the Kalenjin territory, the Brits found out that they were dealing with a community they would not handle, and especially this Koitalel Arap Samoei. Now we read in history that the Maasai were known to be fierce, but when the Brits got to the Kalenjin land, they not only found very, very fierce warriors, but they found very strategic thinkers. In fact, Samoei has been called a military genius. And that is a title he fully deserved. Because the Brits had guns, they had those huge cannons, and all the Kalenjins had were bows and arrows. But led by Samoei, they always outsmarted the Brits in battle. Of course, one of their devastating strategies was how they used the element of surprise. Because you have a gun, but you're taken by surprise, you don't have time to use that gun. Because you have several arrows in your body before you can even fire a single shot. That's what it was. Now, in the same way, today's Samoei Ruto, William Samoei Ruto, is a great strategist. In 2012, he was completely cornered, and it looked like he would not avoid going to jail at The Hague, for crimes associated with the 2007 clashes. But how he got himself out of that tight corner and not only beat the rap, The Hague rap, won the case, but also ended up as Deputy President of Kenya, is quite something. And it was not luck. It was done using strategy. The guy is very strong on strategy, no doubt about that. But this time round, even the abilities of DP Ruto are going to be stretched, indeed overstretched. Now, one of the options open to him is what people have been saying, and that is to form new alliances. Okay? Now, the kind of alliances DP Ruto needs to form, it will not be possible for him to form unless he makes a clean break with Jubilee. Yeah, he actually leaves Jubilee with his massive support base, of course. Now, of course, that's not going to be easy because Ruto has gotten an image of being one of the draconian members of the current Jubilee government. Okay, so for him to wash his image and reposition himself as a different person overnight is going to be virtually impossible while he remains within Jubilee. Yeah, of course he can leave Jubilee, criticize Jubilee, start fighting Jubilee, and then it is possible that he'll be able to get the right kind of image to be able to build new alliances. But there's another huge problem, yeah, that will not allow him to leave Jubilee just like that. Okay, he has got backers, yeah, financial backers, yeah, major appointment, and all these people are enjoying certain benefits because DP William Ruto is still the deputy president. They're able to get certain lucrative tenders, yeah, because DP William Ruto is there. If he leaves tomorrow, all those deals vanish, and even contracts which have already been supplied are unlikely to get paid. Yeah, and we're talking about billions and billions of Kenya shillings. Yeah, so in a way that ties Ruto's hands, okay, or gives him a very terrible choice between his political future and his financial future. Yeah, he has to choose. He has to sacrifice one of those. That is, if finance and money is the main thing, then he can sacrifice his political future. And if his political future is the main thing, then he needs to sacrifice the finances. Yeah, the entrepreneurs who do business using his name. Both options, of course, are very terrible. Yeah, and that's why I told you at the beginning of this second part of this recording, that DP William Ruto is indeed in a very, very tight corner. Very, very difficult to get out of corner. Yeah. Now, before I go, let's look at the famous Kshs. Yeah, what is the Kshs? In mid-2002, yeah, it is said that DP William Ruto had a very violent fight with another Rift Valley politician, a man called Reuben Kshs, who's now deceased, right inside the corridors of State House. Now, Kshs said, at the time he was alive, he said that his whole mission of going to State House is that he had gone to ask the president for permission to leave the country on a trip. Okay, this was 2002. President Moi was serving his last months in power. And Kshs says he met Ruto on the corridor, and Ruto punched him very violently. Ruto says he did not touch Kshs. Yeah, all he did is that they exchanged a few harsh words. And Ruto's problem with Kshs is that Kshs had called him a conman. Yeah, he was spoiling his name amongst voters and amongst people in the Rift Valley and elsewhere. Now it is said from this incident, Kshs cursed Ruto. And the curse said that Ruto would never ascend, yeah, to being the boss, the leader or the president of Kenya. Yeah, that even if he was in the corridors of power, that is the highest he would ever go. Yeah, corridors of power, deputy to people, assisting people, mtu wa mkono, but never the overall authority. Paraphrased, that is what Kshs' curse was all about, as people say. Okay. Now, of course, according to African culture, when an older man curses you, it's supposed to have strength because an older man has authority over a younger man. But there are those who say the curse has had no effect. Indeed, from the time the so-called Kshs curse was uttered, the star of DP William Ruto has continued to rise. Yeah, and indeed he has even been co-president. Yeah. So the truth is, he has not been meandering in the corridors of power. He has been the power itself. So there are those who rubbish the so-called Kshs curse, However, the others who say that the main point of the Kshs was that he would never ascend to the presidency. Because it is one thing to be powerful, and it's yet another, in fact a very different thing, to be president of the Republic of Kenya. Anyway, only time will tell whether this Chesire Kshs is something serious or just a political mambo-jumbo. However, the immediate, very urgent thing DP William Ruto needs to do is to reorganize his strategy if he wants to be president in 2022. He needs to recover from the very serious blunders his team has made in recent times, and get a new strategy that will position him correctly to be president in 2022. Otherwise, the DP could easily find himself in a situation where ghosts from the past come back to haunt him again. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.